truly dark days are upon us. Dark days in the future. Me and me bloody minimum wage, whining about minimum wage. You won't be whining if... No, listen. I'm a blue-collar minion. Blue collar. I want minions. And even I'm like... As I say, there are jobs that do not support £10 an hour. Let alone £11.44, where it's going in 2 months' time. 2 months' time? We're in January now. February, March. Yeah. 2 months' time. £11.44 an hour. By law. For anybody over the age of 21. It's communism. It is. Talking about it with family, and what family said, it's communism. They were right. It's communism. Wages above that threshold are not keeping pace with those wages coming up. Because they can't. Employers. Here's you're an employer. Your biggest cost is your wage bill. Because that is money you have to pay out whether it's every week, every 2 weeks, every month, whatever. You've got to find that money for your employees, and they take that money. Everything else is flannel. Everything else is flannel. Because you often hear people say, "Oh, but they've bought all this stuff and they've done all this with factory and they've implemented blah 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 blah." That's that part of the business. That's flannel. You can get a loan. A dear friend of mine once explained, because I was saying to him, he'd been to business school, this guy. And I was saying, but you know, company cars, if we're spending all that money on companies. Oh, Danny, whoa, let me stop you right there. All those cars parked outside somebody's company, in car park there. It's all, he didn't describe it as flannel, but essentially it's just for show. In as much as those cars will be on finance. For sure, those cars are parked outside that company and everybody thinks, look at that, okay, look. Those cars aren't owned by that company. The £40,000-50,000 per car that you've got parked outside company. The company hasn't found that. The company hasn't produced that money and spent that money to put them cars there. Excuse me. They've borrowed that money. They've borrowed it. They've borrowed that money to pay somebody else to borrow, so they can borrow them cars off a third party. As I say, my first job out of leaving school was subsequently made redundant, but leading up to that, there were plenty of, isn't it going to happen? Oh no. And there, another example. The geezer there I worked with told me very similar stories. Because we were all, yeah, but they've done this and they've done that and you're like, and he just reeled off the name of the company he used to work for. I said, oh yeah. They put a massive ornate front on the factory. New officers, the lot. Brand new. Fucking brand new, by the way. Massive new facade on factory, massive new oh yeah. So-and-so's what have you. Month later, I'm looking for a job, he said. He said, I don't think he used the word flannel either, but it's same thing. It's all horse shit. No, but they've spent all this money. No, they haven't. No, they haven't. They've not spent any money. Well, they haven't spent any of their money. The only money, like I say, the ongoing cost every company faces is the wage bill. And if your employer is already having to fork out £11 an hour to people who have just come in door, they've just come in door there. They haven't got a clue. Why would they have a clue? They're not going to have a clue because they've come straight from school. School doesn't teach these days. Nowadays, school doesn't teach anything about industry. Because industry is a thing of the past. It's all academic nowadays. You sat in an office doing whatever it is people do in offices. Going to an industrial company and physically doing something. No, they don't have a clue about that because they've had no introduction. They've had no sort of insight into that world. If you start at 21 year old, you don't get it today, and you're very, very, well, you're very foolish to think that they would have any idea. But the government's telling you that you need to pay them £11.50 an hour. So there's no left in pot for all people who do know what they're doing. Dark days.